Barak Yehovah, Barak Yehoshai, Barak Yehovah, Barak Yehoshai, Barak Yehovah, Barak Yehoshai, Kolon La, Adonai Yahweh, Bashem Shabbat, Yehoshai, Bashem Kakadash, double honor to the apostle, the elders, millstone, peace, citation, hope, select, Shalom. And this video is going to be about Fetty Wap getting sentenced behind bars. And this is from the NewYorkPost.com. And the title in this article says, rapper Fetty Wap sentenced to 6 years behind bars in NY drug case. By Reuven Fenton and Priscilla Gregory on May 24, 2023. It says, rapper Fetty Wap apologized to his family, friends, and the addicts he sold drugs to as he was sentenced to 6 years in prison Wednesday for his part in a bi-coastal narcotics ring. The hip-hop star, whose real name is Willie Jr. Maxwell II, was accused of driving to Long Island about 6 times in the spring of 2020 and buying kilograms of cocaine, then selling it in New York and New Jersey. A Paterson, New Jersey native, who was one of 5 people charged in the case, personally dealt 25 kilograms of the drug in the Garden State federal prosecutor said. And quote, I always aim to lead, he told the judge at his sentencing in Long Island federal court. And quote, I ended up hurting the community, hurting the people who look up to me, hurting my family, hurting my children, hurting myself. The 31-year-old trap queen rapper pleaded guilty in August to 1 count of conspiracy to possess and distribute more than 500 grams of cocaine and faced a minimum of 5 years and a maximum of 40 years behind bars for the crime. His attorneys had requested that he get the minimum. A bid Central Islip federal judge Joanna Sabert denied because Maxwell violated his bail conditions last year by threatening a rival with a gun in a FaceTime call. Says, in quote, there is a message to be sent, Sabert said. Without a doubt, you did a lot of dumb things when you get out, things that are arguably criminal. Prior to sentencing, Maxwell apologized to the court as some 20 friends and family members, including music executive Russell Simmons, looked on. And quote, I only wanted to do right by my family and loved ones, he told the judge. In doing so, I never asked myself, is it all the way right? The Billboard charting artist said he sold the drugs in a desperate bid to stay afloat financially when the pandemic put him in the red. Roughly 20 friends and family, including music producer Russell Simmons, were present when the rapper apologized in the court. His lawyer, Elizabeth Macedonio, said Maxwell was motivated to start dealing so that he could continue to provide for his family and friends, including his 8 children, after his concert revenues dried up during the lockdowns. And quote, all these people were relying on a still young man with no money coming in, Macedonio told the judge. There were bills to be paid, but the money was running out. Lawyers said Maxwell turned to selling drugs, but didn't do it for personal gain or fun, and only did it for a few months. And quote, there were a lot of mouths to feed. Financial obligations were swallowing him up. She said, he got in and got out. His family was taken care of, and that was the end of it. His family came to court for the sentencing, where he faced between 5 and 40 years behind bars. But federal prosecutor Christopher Cafferone noted that many people lost their jobs during the pandemic, but not all of them turned to slinging drugs. And quote, the people who lost their jobs know what they didn't do, Cafferone said rhetorically. They didn't drive to New Jersey, pick up 25 kilograms of cocaine, drive to Long Island, and sell it on the streets. Last week, prosecutors recommend that Maxwell, who has been locked up since August, received between 7 years and 3 months to 9 years behind bars, claiming he was a large-scale narcotics trafficker who continues to use his fame, sizable platform, and influence to glamorize the drug trade. The Fed cited as an example to his breakout hit Trap Queen, which Maxwell wrote about, an ex-girlfriend who helped him peddle drugs in Paterson. Macedonia Wednesday said prosecutors were unfairly using Maxwell's song against him, referencing other famous songs about drugs or crimes, including Jimi Hendrix, Purple Haze, The Beatles, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and Bob Marley's I Shot the Sheriff. And quote, "This is music, it's art," the judge said. "It's what Mr. Maxwell does for a living. It doesn't make any of the songs true." Cameron fired back. "I know Bob Marley didn't shoot the sheriff. The defendant actually did sell drugs. He did actually sell cocaine." Maxwell was arrested on October 29, 2021, and had been free on $500,000 bond until he allegedly violated the conditions of his release during the December 11, 2021 FaceTime call. Maxwell and the other allegedly distributed over 100 kilograms of cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, crack cocaine from June 2019 through June 2020. The group got West Coast drugs shipped to them through the mail or had drivers transport them in cars with hidden compartments, prosecutors alleged. Anthony Leonardi, Robert Leonardi, Brian Silvani, Kavanaugh Wiggins facilitated getting the drugs across the country to be processed, stored, and resold, prosecutors claim. In March, Sinji was also sentenced to 6 years of prison. The 4 remaining co-defendants have pleaded guilty and are awaiting sentencing. It shows one of their ages, like Anthony is 49, Robert is 28, Brian is 27, and Kavan is 28. Wow. But other than that, I'll bring out some scriptures, and Lord willing, you sincere Akim Akwafian will be edified. In Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 4 it says, "And the doors shall be shut in the streets." This is definitely during COVID that this pretty much mostly happened. And it said, "And when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low." So basically, music, as you already know, is a form of entertainment, and the scripture like pretty much has a lot of like meaning to it, and many ways to interpret it. But in this sense, like you see, like with the pandemic, a lot of people that wanted to go to these concerts and they wanted to go to, let's say, whatever this celebrity was hosting, if there was an event or so, they couldn't really necessarily do that because sometimes they had to cancel certain things. It was just a lot going on. And then even if they had those events to be pretty much like active, it was still like social distancing, and it wasn't as much people because the maximum occupancy was pretty much reduced to such a level to where it's like you're not getting as much money as you once were, pre-COVID, and it got to the point where people there was trying to like they would try to like let's say they could attend the events and stuff, and they had to wear like a face mask and shit like that, and that's what pretty much pissed a lot of people off. So in total, it put a real financial strain on celebrities that are in that music industry, or even the ones that do like those stand-up comedies and things of that nature. Like they weren't able to pretty much profit as much during COVID because of the fact that the pandemic pretty much put them in like that financial crisis. And even over time, like you could see with the whole daughters of music being brought down low, you see how the music is nowadays. It's not how good it was back then, most of the times you got people that are rappers and that do hip hop and all that shit. You got all these song artists like pushing out um negative messages in their songs, which is all they're doing is just flashing worldly shit a lot of time. Like mostly they idolizing money, hoes, and drugs. And in some of this guy's songs, Fetty Wap, he was pretty much pushing out that you know, that whole drug thing, because with his song Trap Queen, and that was a popular song when I was in high school, like around freshman year. And pretty much a lot of these celebrities, they will sometimes show what they do in a music video. They'll kind of like show what they do in a nutshell, or they rap about it, and they kind of like speak in a slang about how they do it and shit like that. And then one thing they're completely oblivious of, or even if they know, they're just kind of dumb to it, like, because the fact that you know and you still do it, it makes you dumb. Like, they pushing out not only a negative message, but they're showing their lifestyle and what they do to get up to the top, which they call, trapping. They do illegally to financially gain. And, you know, that right there shows you that um it's mostly Jake that even that does those things. Like once they start pushing out their music, and especially they have ties in gangs and stuff like that, and ties in the drug trade and things of that nature, they start promoting that in their music, as a way to flex their power. And that just gives Esau the excuse to pretty much raid your territory and pretty much catch you slipping, you know, because they say whatever you say or do can be used against you, right? Exactly. And they could use that, all your lyrics that you post in your music videos, or that you post in your music in general. They could use that as evidence of you getting into illegal activity. So when they say that you was the alleged seller or things of that nature, they could already use your lyrics and say that you've been involved in this type of shit, you know. So exactly, like you had ties in it. So yeah. And you see, he had mouths to feed, he said, and COVID kind of like effed him over, you know. I know that's the thing when the Most High brings you up high to like being a celebrity and all that shit, and it's like he has certain let's say things to happen to the economy, and then now you brought down low, like almost back to where you kind of came from, and then it's like now you're gonna do more wickedness to kind of like get the money that you once had. So yeah, man, it's really insane. At the end of the day, it's like you're harming your own people to an extent, because you're being a witch in the community by selling those hardcore drugs that make people homeless, and there's no fun in making people like homeless to that extent where they start selling their stuff, their clothes, they start selling their jewelry and even their most expensive like valuables just to get access to those drugs. That's like witchcraft on a hardcore level. The shit that he was getting involved in, like selling heroin, fentanyl, and cocaine. Like, damn. And even weed to some extent is like that too. But, you know, weed has its medicinal purposes as well. But the fact that, like, if you're just mostly selling these things for, like, a way to get people to alter their mind, in a sense of, like, that's you doing it in a deceitful way, you know? The Most High is not pleased with that. So, um, what you call it? There's a scripture that I wanted to bring out. Let me see. Okay. It says, yeah, Proverbs 22, verse 16, it says, he that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. Exactly. And another one says, Proverbs 23, verse 3 says, be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. Labor not to be rich, seize from thine own wisdom. Right? You know, and most of the wisdom that you learn on the streets is pretty much like, you know, get rich or die trying, you know. And it says, wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle toward heaven. Eat thou not the bread of him that hath an evil eye, neither desire thou his dainty meat. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. Exactly. And then a lot of these niggas in the hood and shit like that, they think just like the white man, you know? They will scam, rob you for any dollar that you have on you. And they do it like it's nothing. They'll do it in broad daylight in their hood. They'll do it with cameras on the surveillance without a ski mask. They just do it like it's nothing. Yep. And these could be niggas that be scamming thousands of dollars, and it's like they still hungry for more money, you know? And it's like once they reach that level of being an Hollywood artist, you know, whether it be in the music industry or in entertainment industry, you know, and then they get brought down to such a level to where they're not making as much money. Some of them, especially if they happen to be a Jake, you know, they're gonna resort to the lifestyle that they, you know, that they see in their communities. Sometimes they might even go as far as doing that, like this guy, and get themselves involved in some situation now where they're dealing with, you know, like the feds. And what he was getting himself into, that's not wise, because it's like they've been doing it for a few months. He got caught up. And you know, it's the pride too. And the scripture said pride go before destruction. Because it's the pride and that ego that boosts you up, you know, and being a disobedient nigga that's wrong and strong, you know, like you're strong in those wrong ways, and it's like, boom, now the Most High got you, and you know, pretty much put judgment on you. Now you in the system, doing time. And Proverbs 28 verse 22 says, he that hates to be rich hath an evil eye, and considereth not that poverty shall come upon him. And that's what happened with this guy to some extent. Like, he wasn't making as much money, you know, with the COVID thing. And look now, out here selling drugs to his own people. And look where it got him now, you know. And the fact that even making it out of that, the lifestyle that you once was in, just to kind of slightly go back to that same lifestyle, it already shows you, like, you know, that these niggas will do anything just to get on the top, just like Esau, you know. It's the reason why even in the scriptures Yahweh Shai said to the 2/3, I believe it was in John the 6th chapter, that ye of your, or the 8th chapter, that ye of your father the devil, and the lust of your father that ye shall you know, that they would do. And he was talking to 2/3 of his own people, you know, because it's like they will do anything to get on the top, and they won't regard the life for those that they're harming, whether it be scamming or, you know, defrauding someone, robbing them, you know, pretty much like selling them narcotics, especially the ones that get to the point where they will start selling their own clothes just to get those narcotics from that dealer, you know. Now some high level sorcery to get on that level of wanting to get access to the same drugs that got you poor. So, and this is the last scripture before I close out. Proverbs 3 verse 31. It says, "Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways." And the ways that the oppressor, which is Esau, the ways they want, because that's the main oppressor of the nation of our people, and they want Jake to follow after the ways of, you know, of evil. Scriptures tell you to stand from the appearance of evil, you know, and they glorify, let's say, you know, that black culture, pushing out like on the films, and they call it like, oh, black films and stuff like that. They put it on BET or MTV, those channels that deal with a lot of like, you know, films that they show about black people. They will say, like those films have like a lot of gang activity, you know, drug activity, pimp prostitution activities and things of that nature. And it's like that shit is like glorified amongst our people, you know. They try to make it famous, and they push that shit a lot, you know. That's like a high level witchcraft, because like if you pushing that and making it glorified, making it seem like it's a popular thing, then our people start getting into those things and thinking that, oh, it's a normal thing, when it's completely not, you know. And then another form of following after the ways of Esau is like when our people that want to get in the police force, you know, they want to be like a coon, like another fucking ensemble. They want to basically oppress their people that look just like them. It's got the same skin color and everything. And you're oppressing your own people that suffer in the system just like you. And then when you take off the uniform, you're just like the rest of us. You know, Esau likes seeing shit like that. You know, and Esau loves to see our people fighting against each other and our people destroying each other. And that's why it tells you in the scripture that our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, you know. But without further ado, I just wanted to close out on that. And hold on, let's edify. Let's give all glory, praise, honor to Adonai. Yahweh Bashem Shalom Yahweh Shah Bashem Rakadash. Tomanos Apostle Elsger Milson, peace I teach Hope Elect, Yahweh Bashem Shalom Shah, Shakar Yam Arawam Yam Wako Yam Wabab Shalom.